It can feel like the climate is changing faster than we can react, but there are people doing good work. There is a climate crew.
People think grass is grass. There's over hundreds of grasses in Saskatchewan as a whole, over 70 species just in our park. The native grasses we have support not only carbon storage in the roots and erosion control, but they support the diversity of all of the animals that are naturally found in this habitat. My name's Sarah Rubottom. I'm a resource management officer here at Grasslands National Park. We restore prairie to native grass species. So with a changing climate, we're going to see potentially more drought, longer droughts. So you get events like giant dust bowls where top layers of the soil get blown away. Native plants help prevent that. So with the changing climate, we'll actually be able to keep the soil where it's supposed to be. So the native grasses, they have deep roots. Those roots can store a lot of carbon from the atmosphere. They're also going to stabilize the soil, and that all around will also help stabilize the ecosystem.
Less than 30% of the original mixed grass prairie ecosystem exists in all of North America, which is why this restoration work is so vital. Restoring native grasses is just one aspect of bringing back the landscape. Shrubs and wildflowers are part of the mix as well. The restoration team can sometimes do mass collection with a tractor, but there are certain species that require hand collection. Solidago, aka goldenrod, is on the list today.
So has everyone got some clippers? Because we'll go over to a patch that's just over there. So here's a pretty good patch. We don't want to collect more than 50%, and making sure that you're targeting the tall, fluffy ones, but also looking at the smaller ones, like down here. So this one's still starting to open as well. So make sure to collect that.
Why do we want the short ones and the tall ones?
It's mainly to have that big pool of our genetic diversity within our seed lots, so it makes the plant population more resilient to different disturbances or different growing conditions.
It's not just about the variety of species, but having genetic diversity within a particular plant population, like Solidago, also helps build resilience to a changing climate.
The seeds from the plants that grow here are locally adapted. When we plant them back on a restoration field, they are already used to the lack of rain that we tend to have here, the hot temperatures, the cold winter temperatures. So we're kind of right here at this divide between our two monument restoration fields. North of us is the one that was seeded in 2022. South of us is still in the prep stage, so it hasn't been reseeded yet. It still has a bit of work that needs to be done on it. It's mostly yellow sweet clover right now, so we need a couple more years of managing that.
It's not native, and I know it grows pretty aggressively, so it's probably not the best for our prairie dog.
It grows too fast and tall that they can't clip it down, and then they don't move into this area. And we want them to move this way because there's 2 prairie dog colonies on either side of us right now, and I want those to become one good connected habitat.
The animals definitely need habitat to thrive. They need diverse habitat, and restoration is a great way to cultivate that habitat for them.
Supporting native animal populations starts from the ground up by restoring the landscape.
Another foxtail barley here. So foxtail barley, looking at maybe 3%.
Probably a little under.
Seeing a little bit of our invasive, we got the stinkweed, little goosefoot, and a big old dandelion.
I guess we just determined that there's proportionately more native than non-native in this quadrat. At what threshold of native to non-native plants in this quadrat would we determine is restored?
Back in the office on the computer, we'll take our average from the entire field of the percent covers and compare those to predetermined acceptable ranges for this soil type for this field.
Restoration is a long game. Even fields that have been planted many years previously still need a touch-up and a little extra attention before they are fully established and restored.
The vegetation can serve so many things. The diversity of the grasses directly influences the diversity of the plants, the animals and birds and amphibians and snakes. All those species, their diversity would be reflected by the diversity of our habitats from the native grasses. When looking at old pictures of what these agricultural fields looked like and then seeing current satellite imagery and you can barely see them, they've blended back into the native habitat around. It might take 20 years, they can be native again. It instills a lot of hope in me, especially starting new fields, is knowing like, we can do it. So while we do our large-scale restoration here in the park, restoration doesn't have to always be 80 hectares. If you at home could plant native species, but you're restoring food sources for local butterflies and bees, which are then food sources for local birds and other small mammals, we can all play a part in restoring the landscape.